Hey everyone, welcome to Gameplay First, where fun is second to none. My name's Tyler, and I still love video games. Just, in case you forgot or something. This week I'm reviewing Far Cry 3 for Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. Now to start off, Far Cry 3 is a first-person sandbox shooter. You play as Jason Brody, a young man on vacation to Rook Island with his friends. After a skydiving mishap, Jason, his brothers, and his friends are kidnapped by pirates led by a guy named Voss, our main villain for the evening. Voss kills Jason's older brother as they attempt to escape, and now Jason must learn the ways of the warriors on this lawless island to rescue his friends. Despite the fact that they're all incredibly annoying, spoiled little rich kids from Southern California, and yes, I recognize the irony in that statement. As far as the gameplay goes, Far Cry 3 is a sandbox game, which means that you've got this huge tropical island world to explore, which I love. But the only problem with a sandbox world is whether or not getting around it is fun. In the case of Far Cry 3, hell yes. You can steal vehicles to get around faster, there's zip lines, and if you're just lazy, you can fast travel to locations you've already discovered instantly. Getting around isn't really a problem, but I prefer driving because I get to do precious little of it in real life at this point. And I get to do even less diving out of moving vehicles and sending them flying at a band of pirates, but you guys don't want to hear about my trip to Tijuana. The island actually feels alive between the roving bands of pirates and the wild animals, and when the two meet, oh boy, grab some popcorn because it's gonna be a good one.
What you doing?
Oh, playing Far Cry 3, Grandpa Retro. This bear's just mauling all these enemies in this encampment.
Huh. You released that thing?
No, it just sort of wandered in.
Neat.
So did you want to comment on this, or...?
Shh! It's getting close to those explosives over there! Ooh, nice!
Nice!
Oh, thank you.
Speaking of bears, there will be lots of hunting in this game. Seriously, in order to craft upgrades, you have to hunt animals, and in order to craft medical syringes and upgrades, you have to collect plants, which are perfectly legal, of course. At some point, this felt more like a Cabela's game than a Far Cry game, though to be fair, there's not much to compare with Far Cry games. But once I got through with all the equipment upgrades, I got to go back to hunting the most dangerous game on a level that would make Richard Connell shed a tear at having even coined the term. There's only one real point of contrition I have with the gameplay, and that's the respawning enemies in some of the missions and not regaining ammo that you spent when you died. I call bullshit on that, but otherwise it's pretty solid. Next up we've got story, and wow, are we in for a treat on this one. I really love the characterization of this game. The story is basically Jason's whole internal journey, coming of age kind of thing. He comes to grips with the fact that the people he's trying to save are basically spoiled asshats, and that he has literally become a killing machine with little in common with them anymore. The whole story is really well done as you kind of first-hand experience Jason's descent into madness. It's interesting because this story wouldn't have been nearly as immersive if told from a third-person perspective. For once in a first-person shooter, we have a guy who's not just the guy in power armor. We have a legitimate human character who kind of starts off as this wussy little wimp and basically, over the course of the game, turns into Rambo. And to what level he becomes Rambo is left completely up to the player, and it's really well done in that aspect. Honestly, you wouldn't expect such a radical transformation to be possible with this kind of character, but all of the characters feel really human. This includes Jacob's stuck-up friends, even they appear human to me. Don't forget, I also grew up in Southern California. Replace the names on some of these clowns and they're the kids I went to high school with. Which leads me to the voice acting. Okay, whoever played the villain, Voss, take a motherfucking bow, man. Just wow. Holy shit. I love chaotic evil villains, and Voss is probably one of my favorites of all time. This guy is the crazy frosting on the cupcake of insanity being devoured by the Queen of Hearts at half-noon brunch.
Have I failed to entertain you?
Also, well done to the writer of this game because you never see this level of story in an FPS. This was amazing. Just everything about it was just fantastically well written. It's not often you'll find a game that would work just as well as a novel, much less a first-person shooter. Jason strikes me as a character who can either give in to his madness or a guy who's just doing what he must to save his friends. In the end, the choice is yours, which is something that wouldn't be the case in a novel. Overall, this is a pretty good game. Honestly, I didn't go into Far Cry 3 expecting to like it very much. I expected it to just be a first-person shooter, whatever. But coming out of this game, I can say that I actually had a lot more fun than I thought I would, that the story is definitely worth playing it for, and just overall, it's a pretty good game. I'd say this one gets a recommendation.
Bye-bye.
So that's Far Cry 3. For Gameplay First, this is Tyler, signing off. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go stick the butt of my AK-47 up Voss's... Voss.